Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Get Your Mind Set. As ever, our chance to come together and have a mindful moment looking at a different theme for the week. And coming together, and setting that intention. Welcome in, Emma. How are we doing? Oh, fantastic. We've got loads of people with us already. So nice to see you all. Morning. The sun is shining where I am. I hope it is where you are too. Welcome on in, guys. For those of you who haven't been with us before, this is Get Your Mind Set for Body and Soul, and I'm Amy. And I'll be joined by Philip later. And what we do is we have a different theme each week, and we come to it with a mindful energy. We kind of talk through some tips and practical skills for you to help, and we just set our intention for the week, really. But before we begin, I'm going to ask us to kind of create our space and just make us feel, we're ready to change our mindset. Make us feel like we're ready just to have a moment and bring that conscious awareness to us. So I'm going to start by spraying this beautiful room spray I have. So I'm just going to spray this around. You might want to light a candle. Oh, I love how that smells. You might want to change where you're sitting. You might want to move away from your desk if you're at work today. You might want to sit somewhere where you feel really comfortable. So I'm going to light a candle now. I just want you to choose one thing to do just to set that moment. So I've put a kind of morning, everyone. Oh, it's so lovely to have everyone here. Welcome, everyone. So we're coming together as ever to just get our mind set for the week and to reflect and see how we're doing. Here's another one. And before I begin to bring Philip in, just want to say it really feels this week like we've been jolted back into the outside world. So there's lots of stimulation, there's lots of things going on. So today we're going to look at how to just remain mindful within our relationships and how to kind of bring some of the awareness that we've had throughout the year and the kind of the difficulties and things that we've overcome, and how to kind of bring that into this new space that we're in. Fantastic. Emma's got her candle lit. Brilliant. Welcome on in, everyone. We've got loads of people with us today, which is fantastic. So I'm going to bring Philip in now. But before I do, let's just have one more minute as well. Let's just close our eyes and we're going to take a deep breath in. So let's take a deep breath in through our nose and out through our mouth. Really nice. So I want you to put your feet on the ground. We're going to do one more. So we're going to take a deep breath in through our nose and out through our mouth. Lovely. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to bring Philip on in now. So as Philip joins us, I just want you to carry on getting yourself into a space where you feel comfortable. Hi, Philip. How are you doing?
I'm good. How is everyone?
Yeah, really well. We've got lots of people with us today. We've had people light their candles. We've just taken a few mindful breaths. So really ready to speak about the topic today, which is about supporting, embracing supportive relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this links very closely to the other topics we've done in this series. We've talked about communications. We talked about boundaries. Now we're going to talk about people. And I think what we're going to look at is what are our expectations, way of ourselves and of other people. We're also look at the company we choose. And I do use that word choose. And as always, we're going to do some hints and tips just to give you a few things to get your mindset for this week, for each day, or for whatever you need to do.
Absolutely. And I think, it's been a really significant week. It feels like there's been a jolt back into a kind of some sense of, normalcy, but also just getting out with, and seeing lots of people around. There's been lots of positive elements and the sun's come out. But also I think it's really important to recognize that there are also some challenges that come with that. And we were saying that it's more important than ever for us to kind of do these sessions, because actually we want to retain that mindful connection to ourselves and that awareness. And also to notice the changes within us. So as we do kind of step out and we do engage with people, again, we kind of know how we're feeling about it and not just reacting to what's happening around us, but really sort of having an understanding of where we want to move forward with it.
Absolutely. We spent quite a lot of time in the last year indoors, which has been exceptional. Now we're potentially going outdoors. Now, for some of us and some of you, it's going to feel really exciting. For some people, it might be a bit more intensive, and some people just may be overwhelmed. So just observe what it is for you. If you're feeling apprehensive, if you're overwhelmed, take a mindful moment just to close your eyes, do some breathing, and just think, what can you do to improve the situation, even if it's a small thing? Because all things build up, you know. We can't just all run necessarily. So yeah, lots of things to think about, lots of things to get to grips with as we move, hopefully, into the new reality again.
Absolutely. And I suppose also in that way, and I've been talking to lots of friends about this, it's not just sort of acting on urges then, or reacting to kind of overstimulation around us, but actually going, okay, I'm going to check in, and what best serves me in this moment. So, you know, in terms of the short term, but also long term, especially when time's taken on a real new form over this past year, what's going to serve me best in this moment? And what are the patterns, and what do I want to bring in with relationships, with, you know, boundaries within my own life, that are going to best serve me in this moment and going forward?
Absolutely. We remember it. It's not about rights or wrongs. One thing humans do well is adapt. And I think the word I've used for myself is certainly in terms of doing more work online, for example, adaptability. The best way to get through things is just to adapt. You may not always like it, but as you adapt, you become familiar with it and then embrace it a little bit more. So yeah, I think that's really important, just said, about getting to grips with things and being mindful and let's move on and actually let's just make the best of it, really.
Absolutely. So let's start with our first reflection for today.
Okay, so I want you to think about, you know, what are expectations? Are they realistic? Are they unrealistic? Are they helpful? So I've put down a few things about what I'd like you to think about. So, you know, a couple of things around healthy relationships include the idea of our expectations of mutual trust, mutual respect, and mutual honesty. And don't forget, a sprinkling of compromise. Because, you know, things are not always perfect. And that's not really what we're aiming at here. But I'd like us to also think about some quite important things that might be transpiring in relationships that aren't in our best interest. Okay? And sometimes we might even demonstrate controlling behaviours because we want things to be right. We want things to go in a certain direction. Sometimes we might not always be that pleasant to other people. And we need to question, why are we doing that? Why are we allowing it? And in extreme cases, you know, there may be some physical stuff going on. There may be so just to be aware that I would class those as unhealthy in relation. Okay. Now, I know for some people, those things may be familiar and they may feel comfortable, but that doesn't mean they're helpful. So I'm just asking people to think about what's going on for them. Other things that you might want to consider if you're in a relationship and you're not sure whether it's in your best interest. Some indicators might be there's lots of conflict. Now, relationships aren't perfect. Even some of the people I've known for years, you still have the occasional bit where you disagree. But this is where we're talking about extensively, just always conflict. Issues around trust, which can create a lot of anxiety for people. Not spending much time together. Well, if you're in a relationship, by and large, it means you've brought yourselves together in some format. So when you decide not to, that you might start to question what the balance of what's going on. And maybe your emotional needs are not met when you're in an intimate relationship. And maybe there's just lack of intimacy. So some of those could be addressed by being more mindful and being open and discussing it. But some of them might be indicative of other things.
Absolutely. And I do think, especially during this time, if you've had a chance to kind of reflect in on your own boundaries and your own kind of expectations within relationships, it's, you know, it's important to acknowledge it as we kind of come back out and transition back out, that, you know, your feelings on certain relationships in your life may have changed, and trying not to kind of be judgmental of that, but recognizing that maybe your focus your focus is changing, and that actually it's okay to, you know, honor that really, and be able to kind of communicate with people if certain expectations or boundaries in your life have changed and they feel different to how they were before.
Yeah, I mean, what we have to remember is change is inevitable. We can go with the flow and adapt to change. We're probably going to be a bit more resilient. We're probably going to get the best out of those situations. If we want to just stay where we are, if we want to fight it, then, you know, it doesn't always bode well for a relationship. Everything needs to evolve a little bit more and sort of develop. And that goes on to the next topic, which is about the company we choose. And that's why I say it came to me, the word choose. We choose them. So I would ask the questions of, you know, who do you feel comfortable with? I would say those are the ones, people who make you smile, people who help you laugh. And these are often a really good indicator of relaxed dynamics in relationships. You know, getting on with family and friends is always helpful, though never a guarantee. So that's always something to consider. You know, friendship, I would say, generally encompassed by the word supportive. So being listened to shouldn't be an option when you're talking about healthy relationships. And I think encouraging people and inspiring others is also something that in mutually respectful relationships we nurture. So the thing I would then ask you, and the analogy that came to me was of a pond, and I use it in therapy. You know, which pond are you in? Are you in the pond that nurtures friendship, laughter, encourages you, etc.? Are you in the other one, the one that's more controlling, that's more less respectful, that's more problematic, that's more conflicting? So just be aware of where you may be, and just be aware of what you might want to do to change that. You know, friendships are there for the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, they say of pets, don't they? You don't have pets for Christmas. Well, we don't have friends for Christmas. It's the same idea. But you have to input into friendship. It's not one-way traffic. So that's just some of the ideas about I'd like people to think about this week when you're creating a healthy mindset about your relationships.
Absolutely. And we were discussing before, weren't we, about the kind of the input that you put in, you know, so if you're kind of raising your energy and focusing on those positives, it can have a real impact on those around you as well. And then you start to kind of, you know, have that sort of same frequency as the friendships around you. So really being conscious of that pond and choosing, actually, this is the kind of focus I want to have, you know, despite the challenges. And it's not to say that they aren't difficult, but actually we do have a choice about how we want to respond and where we want to bring that mindful, like, you know, awareness to it.
Yeah, I mean, relationships are valuable. They're essential, whether you're in work, whether it's in a family with your friend or your partner or whoever it may be. So actually, let's try and get the best out of them. That's important. And my hints and tips for this week are, and always they're mindfully based. So it's going to be about awareness, appreciation, and compassion. So around awareness, recognize which pond you're in. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel supported? And do you feel encouraged? And importantly, role model your expectations. Just don't expect it just to be the other person that has to show all of these. Demonstrate that. Be that role model. So about appreciation. All relationships need working. They're not perfect. And so the fairy godmother said there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. Was absolutely right. Okay, we all need to do things to improve them and maintain them. So I think consideration is important for ourselves and others. Compromise, be flexible. Don't put everyone else's needs first, but be flexible. Okay, and make some effort. Put something in. You know, you put something in, you get something out. So I think all of those will go a long way to creating the healthier, happier relationship that we all seek. And finally, compassion. Okay, be kind to yourself and those around you. So what does that mean? Communications are not always easy. They're not always a linear path going up into the echelons. They go up and down, they go in and out. Okay, dynamics change, as you say, over time. So be aware of that. Do your best to adapt to it. I've learned over the years, sometimes relationships just naturally grow apart. No one's fallen out. There's no feud going on. And then sometimes years later, when you're totally unexpected, I've had one recently of a school colleague of 42 years ago contacted me, and it's like I've not spoken to them for a day. Just got on. So just be aware that just because things end doesn't mean they don't come back together again. And so my last little snippets for you this week are, it's important to remain supportive, honest, and of course, respectful.
Absolutely. And I think that respect transmits both for yourself as well as people around you, you know, honoring the fact that as exciting and as positive as this past week and the next few days will feel, it's also okay just to observe if you're having slight fluctuations, observe that, you know, seeing friends might feel initially exciting, but also might kind of sit and bring up some things for you. So hopefully these tips today have felt useful, have given us time to reflect and just bring that mindful awareness as we go forward. So we're going to do a nice mindful moment now.
Absolutely. So just as always, just get yourselves comfortable wherever you may be. If you can and you're comfortable to do so, close your eyes. If not, just lower your gaze for a few moments and just start to be aware of your breathing. Slowly breathing in, and slowly breathing out, even making the out breath a little bit longer than the in breath. Being aware of your body, your surroundings. You noticing any sounds around you. And in this moment, there's nothing else for you to do except just focus on your breathing. For some of you, that will allow you to relax a little bit. For others, that will just increase the sense of focus. As always, you know, the topic we also cover in these mindfulness sessions at the end. So embracing that respectful, supportive relationship is what we're focusing on today. So being aware of your thoughts. When you think of the topic of supportive relationship, just observe your thoughts and ideas in a non-judgmental, non-critical way. Just be aware of what that means to you. Supportive, respectful. Notice the words that you use personally, maybe the statements or the phrases. Just remind yourself, each person processes information differently and in a unique way. It's not about being wrong. It's not about being wrong. It's just about being different. Appreciate that all relationships need working on. Notice in a more conscious, mindful way those areas where you feel comfortable with, the people you enjoy being with, the laughter, the communication, and the support. Appreciate those that help you smile, that encourage you, that have you in their best interests. And of course, be kind to yourself and those around you. That's especially important in relationships. Be mindful of relationships that are critical, they're judgmental, not in your best interest. And question why you might want to remain or how you might wish to address. Nurture and embrace people who value you and are in your best interest. And finally, last 3 tips. Recognize which pond you're in. Is it helpful? If it's not, what are the consequences of staying? What can you do about it? Remember, all relationships need work. Compromise, consideration, and effort are essential ingredients. And finally, be kind to yourselves and those around you. Dynamics change over time, but you can be mindfully aware and have that responsibility. Be supportive, honest, respectful, and a role model for what a good relationship, a healthy relationship, can look like. So as we bring the session to an end, bring the focus back to your breathing. Focus of your awareness back to your breathing. Take a final breath in. Slowly breathe out. Become more and more aware of your body, where you are, your hands, your feet. And then at your own time, you can open your eyes.
Thank you so much, Philip. And as ever, thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope you found our discussion helpful. And as ever, we'll put the tips in the comments and we will be saving this video to our Instagram TV where we've got all of the other episodes as well. So please feel free to watch them whenever feels best for you. And in the meantime, I hope you have a beautiful week where we set our mindset and our intention going forward. And as ever, we will see you the same time next Monday.
Thank you very much, everyone, and have a lovely week.
Thanks so much, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.